The time before Christmas is a special season called Advent. Advent means a season of waiting. What if what you're waiting for is your awakening to the truth that your highest self is what you have come here to be? This talk is about making this season a time of spiritual preparation for actualizing your power, abundance, and joy-filled life. Christmas is actually a season of the year. In its popular sense, it extends for 4 weeks before Christmas Day and then 2 weeks afterwards. However, the time before Christmas is a special season called Advent, and it compromises the 4 Sundays before Christmas Day. And Advent lasts for 40 days. Is that biblical or what? And it can start anywhere between November 27th to December 3rd. Did you know Christmas celebrations really didn't start until the 4th century? And this is the time when the Romans converted to Christianity. There has been lots of speculation that Christmas was chosen to be celebrated at this time of year to co-opt or replace the winter solstice pagan celebration of the birth of the sun, Natalis Solis Invicti. Scholars have long questioned the exact date of Jesus' birth. Most suggest he was born between spring and fall, and many suggest that it's really in September that Jesus was born. So why don't we define what Advent means? So Advent has several meanings, and we can look at it from the perspective of the Bible. And when we look at the Bible, we're talking about from Genesis up until the New Testament. From that perspective, it means hope of the Messiah. They were all waiting for the Messiah to come. And then, if you look at the term of Advent being defined from the perspective of the New Testament, Advent means the second coming of Christ. And then if we look at it from our current standpoint and perspective today, we can see that Advent means a coming into, a season of awaiting and expectation. One can feel the energy of this season of hope. It's energetically felt from kids who are filled with anticipation of Santa's arrival with their longed-for presents, to adults who are filled with excitement about the possibilities of joy, friendship, peace on earth, and goodwill to humanity. During this time of year, we hear of humans doing wonderful, selfless acts for others. So I want to share this story that I found, and it just was really moving, and it depicts the selflessness of someone caring for others. The story is entitled The Christmas Tree Angel from Michigan. When Michigan resident Chad Rose just happened to have an extra Christmas tree that was used on his business's parade float, he did what any decent person would do. He posted it on Craigslist to give it away for free. For some, a tree is an annual necessity and integral part of the holidays. But for many, it's an expense that needs to be saved for daily essentials. After posting the ad, his inbox was immediately flooded with touching stories of why various families deserve to have the tree. With each email he read, it became clear how significant a simple tree can be in contributing to the holiday aura. Realizing that $25 towards a tree was too much for some families to spare, Chad went out and bought 40 more trees to give away for free. He spent most of the day going over his list of emails, checking it twice, and not paying much attention to who's been naughty or nice, just deserving. But the good holiday spirit in this story doesn't stop there. You see, Anne Poussant of East Grand Rapids read Rose's ad and contacted him, not to get, but to give. She offered to donate ornaments and other trimmings for the 40 trees he had picked up. Doesn't that story give us hope that something this small can make such a huge difference in people's lives? I also don't think it's a coincidence that during this season, so many other faiths have celebrations. The Jewish faith celebrates Hanukkah, also known as the Festival of Lights. Buddhists celebrate the Bodhi Day, and that is when Prince Gautama took his place under the Bodhi tree, vowing to remain there until he attained supreme enlightenment. For the pagans and Wiccans, they celebrate Yule, which is a Norse pagan celebration of the winter-born king, and it symbolized the rebirth of the sun. And today, present-day Wiccas, they celebrate Yule, or the winter solstice. The Baha'i, they celebrate the ascension of Abdul Baha, and it's a celebration of the rising of the spirit of Abdul Baha to the heavenly dwelling. And many of you know that we've just finished celebrating the Hindu festival of lights, known as Diwali, and it symbolizes the human urge to move toward the light. Gifts are exchanged, as well as fireworks and festival meals. The Jain celebrate Lord Mahavira's Day of Final Liberation. The Sikh, honoring of the birthday of their founder, the birth of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And of course, for Christians, we celebrate Christmas holy days. Yule, which is the light dawning in Jesus. St. Nicholas Day, which is the Christian celebration of the birth of St. Nicholas, patron saint of children and role model for the gift-giving Santa. There's the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is a Catholic Christian honoring of the legendary appearance of the Virgin Mary near Mexico City in 1531. There's Posadas Perpetual, which is a Hispanic Christian feast of the lodgings commemorating the journey of Mary and Joseph to Bethlehem in preparation for the birth of Jesus. There's Holy Innocents' Day, and that's a Christian day of solemn memory of the male children that were killed by King Herod in the attempt to destroy Jesus. And you can add in a few more saints to round out this Christmas season celebration. But here's the thing. Whether you believe Jesus was born on Christmas Day or not, it really isn't important. What is important is that we can choose this time as a time of spiritual preparation to embody our divine nature throughout the year. If Advent is a season of longing and hope, then we can use this time to listen to the voice of God, the voice of honest truth of love. And as you listen, allow your heart to fill with love. Allow your soul to feel compassion for all you have endured and overcome. Let your consciousness overflow with empathy for others. Listen to the call from your highest self to take action to support those who are in need of comfort, love, and blessings. In this time of waiting and preparation, I invite you to create a ritual, to make space in your home and heart as you go within. Rituals are really powerful, and they've been used for centuries, but it seems in our modern age, we've forgotten this. Some of the rituals were around Advent candles, and they were used as markers to count down to Christmas. So as you create this space, what I'm saying to you is that there is no right way to create this ritual. Some people use one big candle to use for their countdown to Christmas. Some use 5 candles. So some use tiny candles for each day of Advent. And you know what you can use? You can even use those battery candles, you know, the little ones that have that switch that you can turn on. You can even create an Advent crown, you know, where it's like, it's a wreath and it's got all those pine boughs and pine cones and different like outdoor nature pieces. And you can glue them all together and then like nestle the candles in there. Listen, I've got a glue gun and I'm not afraid to use it. So if you're like me, get creative and create something that is really meaningful for you this time of year. You can tell by the picture of the wreath I'm showing you that there are 4 candles to represent the 4 weeks of Advent. And some use 5, 4 for the 4 weeks of Advent, and then 1 to represent Jesus. And that one is usually larger and in the middle of the wreath. The traditional Christian meaning for the candles are these. The first week represented the prophets who predicted Jesus' coming. The second week, the candle was lit that represented the Bible. The third week, the candle was lit to represent Mary and the joy that is embodied in Mary. The fourth week, the candle was lit to represent John the Baptist. And really, it was about the preparation of good works, right? John the Baptist was known to prepare the way for Jesus. And then the week of Christmas, the 5th candle would be lit that represented Jesus. Whatever and however you decide to create your ritual, it is going to be perfect for you. As metaphysicians, we are going to reclaim the early church definitions and create anew. The first week that we light the Advent candle, we will dedicate that to welcoming the Christ consciousness. The second week of Advent, we are going to dedicate it to sacred texts. The third week that we light that candle, we are going to dedicate that to the essence of creation within us. Then the fourth week, we will light the candle and dedicate that to how you will show up to do good in the next year. The week of Christmas, we are going to dedicate that beautiful candle to being the Christ in the world. Pick a time, any time to be quiet. And as you light the Advent candle each day, bring the weekly affirmation to mind. Where are you going to get that weekly affirmation? I'm going to give it to you, so don't worry. But what I want you to do is to focus your attention and energy on the affirmation as you breathe life into your transformation. This is going to be my Advent candle. You can see that it's got different colors, so I'm going to be using one color for each week. So I'm going to invite you to each get your own candles. And as I light that candle, I'm going to work with the affirmation. And week 1, I am open and receptive to honoring the Christ consciousness with each thought I have, with each word I speak, and with every action I take. You see, practical spirituality calls us to create anew. Let this time of Advent, of preparation, be your commitment to being transformed in mind, heart, and spirit. Be willing to allow your Christed self to be renewed during these 40 days. So each week during our Advent meditation, we will focus on our weekly Advent affirmations. I invite you each to bring your own candles, whether it's a wreath or an individual, and we will use it during our time of meditation together. So let's prepare for meditation.